Hey, what's going on, guys? And we are back with yet another Crimson Desert update. At this point, it has been 4 updates in 4 days, which is pretty wild to see. The developers have been pushing out fixes one after another, and it really looks like they are trying to stay on top of every issue players run into as quickly as possible. This latest update is another hotfix, and while it is focused on just one bug, it is definitely something that could be frustrating if it happened during your playthrough. The issue being fixed here is related to certain shields disappearing under a specific set of circumstances. If you switched over to dual wielded weapons, saved your game, and then loaded that save later, there was a chance your shield would simply be gone. It was one of those strange bugs that probably did not affect everyone, but if it happened to you, it could definitely be confusing. Imagine checking your gear after loading back into the game and realizing something important had just vanished. Thankfully, that should now be resolved. What makes this update interesting is not just the fix itself, but how it fits into everything we have seen over the past few days. Instead of waiting to bundle multiple fixes together, the developers have been releasing updates as soon as they are ready. That means players are not left waiting around for problems to pile up uh, before they get addressed. It also shows that they are actively paying attention to issues that come up after each patch. The previous update covered a much wider range of problems. It fixed loading screen issues that could leave players stuck or staring at a black screen, solved a graphics problem affecting certain AMD graphics cards when specific visual settings were enabled, addressed a crash that some Mac players were experiencing, and also fixed a bug involving indoor housing features not appearing correctly in certain situations. Compared to that, this newest update is much more focused, but sometimes these targeted fixes are just as important because they remove those little frustrations that can interrupt normal gameplay. Before these hotfixes started arriving one after another, we got the much larger gameplay update that introduced major improvements to trading. That patch expanded the trading system with a huge number of new trading posts, added more trade goods, improved profit opportunities in different regions, introduced wagon workshops, and included several quality of life improvements to make trading feel more rewarding and easier to manage. It was easily the biggest update out of this recent streak, and everything that followed has mostly been about polishing the experience and making sure everything works the way it should. When you look at the bigger picture, it is easy to see the pattern. First came the larger gameplay update with new features and improvements. After that, the developers started releasing hotfixes to iron out the issues that appeared afterward. That is usually how game development works after a major patch. Once thousands of players jump in and start trying different builds, equipment combinations, and gameplay styles, a few unexpected bugs naturally show up. The important part is how quickly those issues get addressed, and so far the response has been pretty fast. This shield bug is a good example because it is tied to a very specific sequence of actions. You had to switch to dual wielded weapons, save your progress, and then reload the game before the problem could appear. That kind of issue can easily slip through testing because it depends on several actions happening in a particular order. Once players started reporting it, the team was able to identify the cause and get a fix out without making everyone wait for a much bigger update. It is also nice to see that the developers are not only focusing on crashes and performance problems. Equipment bugs can be just as annoying because they directly affect your character and your progress. Losing a shield after loading a save is the sort of thing that can leave players wondering if they accidentally sold it, dropped it somewhere, or ran into a save issue. Fixing that helps make the overall experience feel much more reliable. So after 4 updates in 4 days, it is pretty clear the developers have been working through player feedback as quickly as possible. The recent trading overhaul added plenty of new content, and these follow-up hotfixes have mostly been about making sure everything stays stable while players continue exploring the game. This latest update may only address a single issue, but it removes an annoying bug that could interrupt your progress. And that is exactly the kind of improvement players like to see when developers are actively supporting a game.